Your Honor. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client Mr. Jeremiah David Jones has been accused of stealing at several local supermarkets. And accused of felon manslaughter of a store security guard. Let's go over how many ways people are accused of killing another person, just to get the reality that helps you define who and what my client has been accused of. But first, the details of what happened that day, that moment. So, my client was in a supermarket because his non-profit had lost all support, and the key figure, who had donated for 25 years, passed away. So, after that happens, he begins to deal with very tough survival issues, and on a day a few months later he is at a church talking to a priest and asking for help for his family. Since he, as millions of Americans, are struggling to survive, you see that day his wife Maria needed to get the kids from school and was to meet my client, her husband and father of his 2 children, Sarah 7 years old, and Jeremiah Jr. 5, at the church to also meet the priest, who was to go over what he might be able to help them with. His wife and children crossed the street to go meet my client, the father and husband, at the church, and bam, 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 a drunken driver goes through a red light and kills all 3, and he too is killed. Not that I mean I am happy he got his, or justice was served, but if he lived he would have gone to jail for a year or 2 and been released. Most likely would do something like this again. It's a recorded factual statistic that these offenders 95% of the time do something horrendous again. So, my point is, as horrible and unconscionable a crime he committed under the influence, now, he would not have the chance to destroy another family's dreams. That's just a reality, good or bad, compassionate or cruel, one that we all know in the end works best. And yes, you and I know well if they get the right lawyer they will prove somehow, some way, it was the car. He brakes failed. You see, he was a DUI but he tried to stop and the brakes failed, and he would get off because of reasonable doubt, and this was after all his first offense. Yes, always something to save a criminal, so, he is gone. However, so is my client's wife, Maria, and his 2 children Sarah and Jeremiah Jr. All gone forever. All gone forever. So after the funerals, and more insane time struggling to survive, our good citizen and compassionate soul who has helped so many for so long, has nothing. A few weeks of horrible insanity and despair turns to hopelessness. My point is, my client was in a state of mind few ever really know, although there are many in the big picture, few in this scenario but more than we would like to know about. And so losing his dream to save people and struggling to survive, here he was. Imagine, my dear fellow members of the community, if you had lost everything, and all you had was the dirty clothes on your back and the stench of death all over your thoughts and mind of losing your family. No one should ever have to experience this kind of loss. So with all that in mind, 2 weeks later, my client, desperate and lost, hopeless, and numb, is driven by the last basic thought, to survive, and so he starts to go into supermarkets and taking a bottle of water and a piece of fruit, and yes, he puts them into his pocket and leaves. I know you are asking, doesn't he have Social Security? What about relatives? After all, he looks old enough to have relatives and Social Security, but he isn't, my dear friends. He is in his 50s, and he gets nothing, and in his case he has no relatives. Fact, dead, gone, or just don't care. This man is in the in-between years and the alone, no one to help time. It happens, my dear members of the jury. I see some of you shake your head yes. So, now here he is trying to survive. This goes on for several weeks while he tries to just survive, and figure a way to overcome this time of great pain and loss. Finally, a security guard becomes aware of this guy, my client, who is doing this once a day in this store where he works. So, he has a job to do and decides to confront him and pepper spray my client before he even says a word.
We have all seen the security footage, and yes, it is clear without a doubt that the guard steps in front of my client at the storefront entrance and simply sprays his face.
And kicks him to ground and continues to spray his face. My client, in excruciating and torturous pain, panics, trying to avoid the pepper spray torture, and in a moment of desperate self-preservation triggered by our deepest need to fight back and survive, bursts up and slams into a special promotional rack of tools, and a hammer hits the guard in a spot on the side of the skull that accidentally ruptures a main artery and he dies. So what is this? What does all this mean? How does all this happen? And how do we apply justice? What would make all this right? He goes into a supermarket on a desperate night, dehydrated for days, unshaven for months, and without a daily shower and any form of daily hygiene. He goes into a supermarket on a desperate night, dehydrated for days, unshaven for months, and without a daily shower and any form of daily hygiene. So is it. First-degree murder, premeditated and done W/malice. Second-degree murder, malice, but not premeditated. Felony murder, killing that takes place during commission of another felony, regardless of malice. Voluntary manslaughter, would be murder, but victim did something to killer D. To killer that would cause a reasonable person to lose self-control, like pepper spray torture, or involuntary manslaughter, no intent to kill, but death is result of conduct so reckless that it causes extreme danger or injury. Negligent homicide, failed to exercise reasonable amount of care, and someone died because of it. Punishments vary from state to state. So, in our state these are the ones we refer to. I suggest you think about how we kill ourselves with potential danger that is caused by a torturous act of danger. Using pepper spray without warning, overwhelming a soul with a venomous attack that would create an explosion of anger and fear and self-defense. After all, my client was unarmed, but the guard acted with the confidence that he was armed and that his only way of stopping the water bottle fruit thief was to attack with his pepper spray surprise attack strategy, and to hell with prudence and a sense of common sense awareness, and the ability to see when a soul was not a danger but someone who needed help. Tough word, when someone asks for help. Why speak to someone who might need your help and compassion? Someone you would have to listen to their sad horrible story, that would ask you for help, ask you for a step up, a step back, and a door to be unlocked, a place to stay, a bottle of water and a piece of fruit. After all, what have you ever done for anyone? But how would you know? If you never asked, if you never give that soul a chance to tell you who they are, what they did, and why they need help. Had he asked, he would have discovered this man, my client, Jeremiah David Jones, spent his life supporting 250,000 strangers for 25 years. And instead, you chose to pepper spray my client and ask questions later. After all, you saw my client take a bottle of water and a piece of fruit several times before you decided to punish him and be the judge, jury, and prosecution. And make your point to the world, that why should you speak to them, when you can pepper spray them and teach them a lesson? Never take a bottle of water or a piece of fruit, or we will destroy you, harm you, punish you, or kill you. Whatever it takes to stop you from taking the water and fruit that does not belong to you. Do you understand, you pieces of shit, you unworthy, dirty, filthy bastards? It feels good to get that anger and disgust off your chest, even if the person you punish is a good soul, and has just fallen on some hard times. So, think about this, from my client's point of view. This is what has not been spoken of. It is his record of helping over 250,000 men, women and children in our country with food and water and medical assistance for the past 25 years, online with his non-profit organization known as We Will Not Forget You. Maybe some of you have gone to the site and read the thousands of testimonials of families he has helped. What no one knows or has been spoken of in this trial is strangers worldwide. When they were in need, he made it his choice each and every time to help them. The only pepper my client ever used was cayenne pepper for the food he gave to so many as a spice to add some flavor and nutritional value. Not to harm them, by blinding their eyes and making them beg For mercy, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it was not voluntary manslaughter, it was a provoked accidental death. And the victim died by his own self-righteous extreme malice toward my client. I rest my case. Oh, one last thought, to truly help you. Just simply put yourself in my client's shoes, or in this case, bare feet, and ask yourself, are you a cold-blooded murderer? Or are you a soul who has been betrayed by his own people after helping so many for so long? And what is justice? What does it really mean to sacrifice your life for so many and be crucified on the cross for a bottle of water and a piece of fruit? And yes, think back to that infamous moment in time that I need not mention his name, just that there was a cross that he was nailed to, and he too gave his life for so many. Who are we? What is the right thing to do? Is there a right thing to do? I believe you do know the answer, and my client is at your mercy for the kind of justice few ever get. And that old expression that one thing has nothing to do with another, sometimes one thing is actually caused by another. In this case it was a security guard and his poor judgment and failure to do the right thing, which was his job, with a professional protocol, not one of a gangster and bully. I rest my case. Amen. Thank you for your sacrifice of your precious time. Hopefully when this is all over, you will get to go home and be with your families. Unfortunately, my client will never have that joy, ever again.